Hola.
Here I'm seeing on the streaming, there is a signal that the presentation has begun. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Please be welcome to this presentation of GeneXus X Evolution 2. This will be presented by Franklin Buitron and myself. Together with Franklin and the rest of the team, we supported the early adopters of this version. Specifically, we supported the early adopters during the beta test process. More than 1,000 beta testers tested this version, and now it has been released. GeneXus Evolution 2, which is the latest version that we have released in terms of GeneXus. This was done 6 months ago. And in the meantime, we continue to work and to support our clients who have already adopted it. We have released an upgrade 1. We're on the process of releasing an upgrade 2. And before beginning with the features this version has, in terms of the benefits it has, from the beginning of this version, we have stressed the fact of maintaining the compatibility of all the features so that you can easily adopt it. If you're coming from earlier versions, so that you can adopt it if you're in Evolution 1, then going to Evolution 2 would be just a change of upgrade, so that you can make a similar effort as to when you were going to an upgrade. And we have achieved this. And we have some data that tell us that we are really obtaining it, and there is a 30% level of adoption of those users, which is giving us more and more confidence, and it's also allowing you to move on to this new version. So, what is Evolution 2? What do we want to do with Evolution 2? Or you, what do you want to generate with this? What we see is that if we position ourselves in the users of our applications, we would like those users to be able to use their applications from all over the world, anytime, from any device or PC, so that they can use that application in a comfortable and safe way. That's GeneXus X Evolution 2 in a single sentence. And that's what we're aiming at. That's where we're working at, so that you can generate those type of applications in detail. How do we build an application that meets all those requirements? It is at least very difficult, or it might be even impossible to do without GeneXus. Just take a look at the technological stack that's behind an application of those characteristics that needs to be executed in smart devices via browser, or even within Facebook, that the user will be accessing it from the device he chooses. That's what the user sees, maybe. Or what's behind, there's the whole cloud or servers with their own services that are serving those applications. You will be generating that with the generators that we've already have. You will meet all the security requirements that will horizontally affect all your application, and you will have all those data in your servers as well. Behind that technological stock, there are many technologies involved, technologies that, thanks to GeneXus, you don't need to know in detail. That's why GeneXus simplifies the development of these type of applications. Okay? Even with GeneXus, we had an evolution. We evolved GeneXus so that you can adopt and generate these type of technologies, these type of applications. Let's now specifically see in terms of web generation what we did in GeneXus in order to meet those requirements. Back to the beginning, what we want is to have web applications that can be accessed by everyone, anytime, and from any device or PC. For that, in GeneXus, we added features. We improved performance, security, and the user experience. Specifically, in terms of performance and user experience, and in terms of being able to execute a web application from any device, somehow the technological world has helped us and has defined a clear standard as to which technology needs to be behind an application that runs in any of these browsers, and that technology is called HTML5 plus Cascade Style Sheets 3 and JavaScript. That's what someone needs to generate for an application to be seen in all of the devices. That's a basis that all the applications need to meet. Of course, there's much more to that, and we also need to enable that standard or to generate web pages with that standard. For you will be just a click in one of the properties. Actually, we had already worked, as you know, in HTML pages generation with HTML4, even in Evolution 1, and now in Evolution 2 we have added HTML5. But for an application to be seen correctly, this is not just about meeting a standard. HTML5 has more than just a standard. It adds features to its applications, and those features in HTML5 combined with concepts and GeneXus give us more power. For example, if you now define any field based on a domain called geolocation, and that field in runtime starts having a specific behavior. That's why we call these semantic domains in GeneXus. The same concept of domain in GeneXus combined with the power of HTML5 gives us these possibilities, so that you can choose your present position to go to a map that's associated to that position. If you run this web application within a device, in a phone, and you tap on a field, a phone type field based on a phone domain, automatically a call will be triggered, and that's another resulting features from these improvements. When you run that web application or web mobile application in a device such as the iPad, it automatically enables a keyword that includes the @ symbol if you define a field based on email domain. And there are other features that include web mobile, and we will see even more in terms of smart devices. But before that, in terms of web mobile, as you might know, there are dynamic queries that are based on GXQuery, or the query object in GeneXus, are then generated as dynamic queries, as I said, and before they were generated in Flash. Now, for them to be executed in iOS, everything is triggered in JavaScript. So you will be able to use those query objects in any device, thus meeting all the requirements that we had proposed. We've also added flexibility so that you can define, to have more flexibility, specifically in terms of transactions, where you can define where, what position, what color, and when they are triggered. Everything to improve the user experience of users. And this is a cross-cutting feature. You can also define that all date fields are stored in a TC, so that it doesn't matter where you are accessing that application, because the fields will always be stored in the same time zone. We've also improved performance in Evolution 2 in order to further obtain a better user experience. The items that we dealt with in performance were several. HTML, we generated less HTML, we eliminated bottlenecks in triggering the JavaScript, then we improved data traffic, thus minimizing traffic itself, and on the server side, we also improved the sentence execution. There are more functions that are now triggered in the DBMS, thus all the application will work much better in Evolution 2. Finally, security. There is something that we specifically dealt with, which are the main 10 points that the OWASP establishes, which is an international organization that measures all the most common vulnerabilities that web applications have. And in that sense, what we did was to minimize or even to eliminate the possibility of these attacks in web applications. But we've already mentioned something about mobile, that I want to run my applications in mobile devices. But for that, what we did was to have a specific smart devices generator, a new generator that's included in Evolution 2. Why did we add a smart devices generator if we've just said that we could run even web applications in these devices? Well, because this is what the user wants. Nowadays, applications that are generated in a native way behave much better than those that run in browsers. That is to say, at the end of the day, the user will be demanding an experience like the one he obtains in native applications. Since our mission is in our tech to generate with GeneXus whatever is best as possible for every platform, it was clear for us that we needed to add this smart devices generator, and specifically for leading platforms that we chose. And in that case, this was for Apple for being the creator of this revolution, Android for the huge growth it's had, and BlackBerry for the huge installed base that it has. So we are generating with this latest released version of GeneXus for these devices in the form of native applications. Now, something about the features that these applications need to have, so that users can really take advantage of everything they have in their device. Their characteristics, the features that they have are, first, many features in terms of hardware and OS. And I will want to tap all these. Then we have features that are associated to other applications that run and sometimes are already installed by the manufacturer, such as contacts and calendar. So my applications will work better when they are integrated with all the features that are provided. And from all these features included here, maybe the most important one that will give us more ideas is that those devices are always with us. So take a look at all the list of features, and then you need to add this one. The user is always with his device. So, how do we say that in GeneXus? In order to become integrated with all these features provided by devices, we are using the semantic domains concept. You're seeing similar screens as in web mobile, but only now they're in native applications, not just the email or phone examples that I showed today, but we can have this to select a local video, picture, audio that you have saved, or maybe you can store audio and video in the application itself through semantic domains with GeneXus. And also, if there's a URL, you tap on that URL and a browser is open. So you will be interacting in terms of those native applications with the browsers that are already installed in the device. Then another important feature is that we will try to minimize the entry of data in these devices. It's very uncomfortable to have to type with these devices. So we added new controls that the user can enter data in a more comfortable way, map integration, etc. That on one hand. So on one hand we have semantic domains, and on the other side we have a complete API to work with the features of the device. That API includes new type of data and their methods for working. As I was telling you, we added new controls so that data entry is easier. This is for entering blood pressure. Then we added other controls that are associated to grids. We are powering the grid concept in this version. Actually, any repetitive type of data, any data collection that you might want to show, you will be showing it as a grid. So showing a collection of data is just to drag a grid to GeneXus and then decide how you will be showing that grid. Well, you might show it with some of the controls that are available for grids. What you're seeing on the screen is, first, you can see the dots there. This indicates that you will be advancing horizontally in the grid, and this grid is just a vertical grid, the one on the right. It's a very nice one, actually. And this one might be the most exotic example of a grid. You're just seeing a car there, and you might say it's not a grid. Well, actually, the car is set up by parts, and every part is positioned within a specific coordinate in the screen. Thus, it's also a grid in terms of GeneXus. No matter how strange it might seem, it's a collection of data, and so it is a grid. This control was intended for insurance brokers who work for insurance companies when they have to inspect a car and see in what condition it is. Other conditions that need to be met in applications running in devices, not so much in terms of specific features of the device, but thinking about the behavior that the user expects in the application. As code generators, we need to try that applications that are generated for each device behave in a natural way for the user in that device, in that platform. So, we're not generating, as we used to do that before in Visual Fox Pro or Visual Basic, when they executed applications in a single operating system, Windows operating system, and they needed to have the same behavior. Now we're generating for different platforms, and this adds new challenges. For example, an iPhone user will expect to have a menu like the one you have here. However, an Android user is more accustomed to having these type of menus. Both of them have the same concept, the same menu concept. We will have an applications bar. The iPhone user expects to have the back button. The Android user expects to have a logo where you can tap and you go to the application home. Different uses of the same concept. So in GeneXus, how do we specifically model this, or what do you need to do in GeneXus to achieve this? Absolutely nothing. This is the type of things that we generate automatically without you having to know how the application needs to behave. But there are other things where you have more power for defining behaviors, specifically in terms of design of the layout. You are seeing an iPhone screen. It's the same application that was done by Nicolás Cardelino. Here we have an orange theme, and here you have a black and white theme. In GeneXus, you will define two themes, and you will tell GeneXus, well, the orange theme needs to be shown when the application runs on iOS platforms, and the black and white theme needs to be shown when we are running on Android. And thus, you can specify different behaviors or different layouts for every platform. Let's now make this more complex. Let's now think. This is an Android phone screen. I have certain space to add controls. What you are seeing is a Peso Book application. That's a name, Peso Book. This is what you're seeing in Android. Now, the same screen or the same GeneXus object is seen in an iPad like this. In an iPad, I have much more space to showcase the application. So I want to be able to show more information, and GeneXus is modeled through the same object. I will take advantage of the rules, events, conditions, variables in that object, and I have the ease of designing multiple layouts in GeneXus. Those layouts can be associated to the platform, to the device size, to the orientation. So how do I work in GeneXus for these new smart device generators? Just by using the concepts that we've already had in GeneXus, but now with new objects, specifically dashboard. This is a menu. You will be working with menus, panels that are similar to the work panels, and you will also be working with for smart devices that reuse the same concept of working with that we had in GeneXus 9. So there's not much new there that you need to learn, and it is easy to adopt this new generator. Now, we've seen features of devices, we've seen how applications need to behave within those devices, but besides, there's even more juice from this new world, and it is that platforms, Apple, Google, RIM, give ease of use, which are called the platform features, and we have worked with many of them. Nowadays, we are supporting push notifications and all the wide range of options that are provided by platforms to monetize our applications. In the case of push notifications, I can send a notification to all or to some of my devices in my application. I will do this from an application server, and I will send everything to those devices. Not just the one that have a single platform, whatever platform my users are using. So that push notification service for GeneXus is actually a cross-platform notifications, because you will be sending your users regardless of the device they are using. If that device is an iPhone or an Android. We've also added monetizing options. You can upload those and you can publish them for free. You can reserve areas so that advertising is included, or you can even, in this recipe application, you could add this in-app purchases application where you could maybe, for example, give 100 recipes for free, but some which are very specific from a famous chef, they can be sold at a certain price. So you sell features within your application, and that's another approach that you might have. All that, how with new types of data in GeneXus. On the other hand, we want to make the most of the potential that we have in our servers. There's a lot of computing potential for any smart device application in servers, and with GeneXus, you will take advantage of that. Let alone all the ones that already have web applications that are working with GeneXus, and that you might add your smart devices modules to that, but reusing all the potential that they already have in their servers. So you will be taking advantage of procedures, data providers, transactions, because they are exposed as business components and services associated to them. So you will include all your business logic there so that you can tap that potential and thus get connected to the world, to the rest of applications through servers. Remember then about the importance of all the architecture. We are not just using an application in a device, we're running an application that is integrated with all of its environment. So far, we talked about the features provided by GeneXus, but there's another one, and this is about extensibility. GeneXus and its generators can be extendable. You can do your own controls. What you're seeing on the screen are 3 screens that Armando Carboso gave to me, where he designed one control for signing, another one that's an image gallery, and another one that's an external object. This calls an external object. It's a library that's manually programmed that resolves all the printing via Bluetooth. That might be something that you might need. So everything that's not provided by GeneXus, you can obtain it by extending GeneXus. Let's now move on to cross-cutting features that affect all the components of my application. One of them is security. Today I showed how we are making more efforts in terms of web security, but now we're adding one module in GeneXus that's included for free in GeneXus Evolution 2, which is a security module that resolves authentication, authorization, which is role-based and permit-based. So, you just need to enable a property to adopt that so that your application becomes secure and that it starts requiring authentication or authorization. Why did we do this? Because we remember the technological stack that we have behind us. Remember that applications are more and more complex. More and more we need more expert people in security. We need to devote a lot of effort. And what we saw is that in many cases in the community, we saw that we were reinventing the wheel because each of us were doing our own security module. But for this, you need to be a security expert because otherwise you will be vulnerable or your applications will be vulnerable. So that's why we're emphasizing so much on this. In GeneXus, you will find a complete API for working and for extending that security module that we provide, and you will have examples of how to do that. On the other hand, another cross-cutting feature, which is the GX Flow, on all the business processes. We also improved our flow feature. We improved diagrams. This is supporting a world standard, which is BPM 2.0. This also allows us to import and export, that is to say, to exchange with other tools. That is to say, I can export with a format XBDL, and I can import in third-party tools. Actually, what we will see is more the other way around, because someone could be developing these business flows in a third-party tool, then import it into GeneXus, so that the GeneXus developer, based on that, starts programming associated objects. Also, in the application that was generated with GX Flow, we have added features such as, for example, to allow more statistics, better statistics, so you will be able to better optimize internal processes. But there is something that we all want, and that is that once we've created something, we want to be able to publish it quickly. Or as we are publishing, actually in the GeneXus community, as you develop, you want to publish it for everyone. Through the incremental methodology that we use in GeneXus, we're used to that. But in this version, we improved this a little bit, and you will not only be able to showcase the applications that you're doing locally, but you will be able to upload those applications to a cloud, to servers that we are providing in Amazon, so that you can run the application. And this is very simple, and this is thanks to the fact that Briogan, and there's a whole story behind this. One day, Briogan Gonda did his first application in Android. It was operational on his PC, but he wanted to be able to show it in the device. And not just on the working net, he wanted to be able to show it at home, where he wasn't able to access the local server that he had in his company. So he wanted to publish this right now. Somehow, he came with that requirement to the development team, and this resulted into this property. Just by clicking on a property, all the application is replicated on the cloud, and thus it is published on a public server in Amazon, so that you can show it to your colleagues, to your friends, or your bosses, or your clients. So, as you publish that application, it will become public and you can show it to other people. We have several servers with it, some of them in the US, others in Brazil. But let's now see what GeneXus was used for by our users in this very short 6-month period. The first one who tweeted something was Horacio Iturria from Aquavicio. 4 days after the release, he had converted his KB with more than 4,000 objects. This is about a commercial management system, and this is already working in production in a company that serves more than 3 million users. Other concept, as Nicolás already mentioned, this will be shown in greater detail, but these are KBs that are very large, that were migrated from GeneXus 9, both in terms of Win part or the web part. That migration process only took a couple of months, specifically 2.5 months, to be rolled out in the first client, and then 2 more months to take the application to all the clients. The first one in Chile, the second in Europe, the last one in Uruguay. I think this is very impressive. And then other people are using it with applications, public applications, public sites, and some re-engineering is being done, or adaptations are being done to take this to Evolution 2. Specifically, adaptations so that there's a mobile module. Zeta Cuentas is for personal finance, and this, the people from Zeta Cuentas want every home to adopt this, so they are now in the process of using this with smart devices. There are new companies. In this case, there's a Mexican example that there was a new CRM for every mobile device, so that you can include it in your own device. But we've also used it internally for our products. GExplorer 7 Beta 2, which is being released, and that offers a possibility for the end user to catalog new keywords. And this is done with Evolution 2, and it includes many features thereof. And finally, we've also done this, and I will ask Franklin Buitron to join us. We have built a site that exposes some of the smart devices applications. This is a site that was built on Evolution 2 that shows some applications done with Evolution 2. So I will now give the floor to Franklin, who will tell us why smart devices users also adopted Evolution 2.
Hello. Good morning. I will show you what applications were made with Evolution 2 with the Smart Devices Generator when it was released. These are examples as to the level of quality and functionality of the tool. My purpose is to help you so that your smart devices ideas take shape by looking at the examples that other people created. There's still a lot to be done. When we were talking with Armin, we thought about categorizing the highlights of each application, like smart applications, those that are user experience oriented or massive use or out-of-the-box ideas, that is to say, original ideas. It does not mean that one application belongs to just one category. If an application wants to be successful, it must have a little bit of everything, like a combination of the four. I will show you first an iPhone creation. Here it is. The first example is Arthur Mobile. It has with an internet connection, this will be easy to show. The purpose is to be a tourist guide for Montevideo City. Can you hear me? I think it's not coming out well. Okay. It shows a list. This is the format. We have a list of exchange houses, hotels. This is the Radisson Hotel, restaurants. and all these things that a tourist would like to know about. Now, why is it a smart category service? Because it uses one of the features that is the most popular today, geolocation. All this information that we see here as a list can also be found in a map format. We can see the dots that are scattered all over the city. This gives us a new context and adds information, because it tells me, for example, that this hotel is closer to the Broadwalk, or maybe that's something not easy for me to find out. And it is a grid, because we have a list of things we can access to and we can navigate as well. For example, here, Radisson Hotel, where we are, and we can see the detail of the rooms, we can navigate in the application, so it behaves as a list. Another thing I need to highlight is that the application not only gives you geographic information, it has a component of enhanced reality. It is sophisticated. It allows you to take a picture of one monument, for example, and bring information about the monument you are watching. How does it work? On the one hand, you have the camera, the device that takes the picture, and then the GPS that gives information of where that picture was taken. And using the GeneXus architecture, we use the server power, sends this information to the server, where they have a software that recognizes images and can map the information. So it gives me all the details about the monument. It's very surprising. I cannot show you here because I don't have monument here in my example. Sorry. Another feature that can be highlighted is the notification, this push notification. When you have a text message or an email, you can use it in other applications. So what is this feature giving me? I can be proactive, which I couldn't be before. I can get to the user. I can motivate the user to come to the application. I'm not waiting for him to come before I give him the information. I entice the client to come to me. Some people use it to show real-time information, like football, soccer, Camino Brazil, Uruguayan soccer, and so on. They show what is going on during a match or forthcoming match, and you see it as here with this operation system. So I can go right into the application and I can see. The application did not wait for me to go there. It gave it to me before I wanted it. Another example is the international airport in Carrasco, Montevideo. We can subscribe to the flights and see if there is any change in the status. Is it delayed, or it has landed, or you will never leave the country because there's a problem? And you will be notified if there are any changes in the status of a given flight. The same is true here. This is another example. Polier Mobile is an application of stock exchange. It allows you to operate at the stock exchange, and it uses push notification with an alarm system. If a certain action goes over the threshold, you are notified if you want to buy or sell a stock. They say you have to be very careful, because if your threshold is very low, you will receive notifications the whole day long, and it is non-stop. Well, these applications are not just about features. They also have good user experience. I, as a user, must love to use it. We must solve our needs, we must meet objectives, and the perception of the user must be positive. I think the application of the event this year reached this goal. We showed the information. That was a clear objective, to talk about this event we are attending. We have agreed for that. If I'm going too fast, please stop me, because I tend to jump from here to there. These are the speakers. We can bring information on the sponsors or nearby hotels and restaurants. And how do we achieve this user experience? Several of the presentations will refer to this topic. Alejandro Simas and Lucia Guedes will talk about this. They have developed methodologies and they will explain how to use that. Fabian Bonillas then put this into GeneXus platform. I will just share two concepts with you. One is consistency of the application. For example, in this menu here, at the top, in the tabs at the top, we maintain the same style in this menu, the same kind of icon. This gives consistency to the whole thing. Or if we present a list of presentations, they have a specific color. And if we show this in other pages, you will see that it is the same colors, there is uniformity throughout the application. The other concept is that the user interface has sophisticated effects. Look at the effects. Wow! It changes the color dynamically when you select one presentation in any of the grids. This is consistent. So why is this a feature? It gives you a lot because this will entice the user to use your application. Another example, let us change the device. I am an engineer, but I make a mess whenever I deal with these things. Let's see if it works. Yes, this is an Android. It's all black because the back is black. This is called Betterize It. The objective is to keep track of our hobbies or habits. The slogan is one habit at a time. For example, what is going on now? There's a list of habits. There is experience behind it. It's different from other Android applications that you've seen, the way in which it operates. My habits here, I have a talk. Later on, I can navigate and check in, and I say I did it or I didn't, so I can share it with Twitter and feel that I am committed with my habit. I started a diet on January, but I never really actually started, so maybe this can help me with my diet. So you saw two platforms with good user experience. So it's not just colors and the way we show it. Each application respects the platform and it respects what the user expects. You're navigating here and you don't see a button that says go back. This is given by the device because it's an Android. So the concept when you change categories is that if you want to reach out to everybody, you have to develop in all platforms because we cannot choose just one single platform for our users. The users choose the platform and we have to reach out to them. This strategy was adopted via GeneXus by many of our clients. For example, Montevideo Portal, which has a website with news. I hope it, yes, they're here. And we also have a list of news. The image gallery that you can see has the look and feel of expected by an Android user. We have sections with different news and more videos of the news themselves. So what is it that I'm driving at? That this application was made for Android. If I go into news about the hurricane last week, it was very, very terrible. We have news here and pictures. And if I want to go back, I have a button. But if you go to an iOS, if we go to iOS, we'll see the same application. It's not blue. I don't know what's going on. But here, We have similar information, but it respects me as an iOS user. It gives me the look and feel that I expect of an iPhone. I go into the news and I have a button to go back. But this doesn't work, the button doesn't work in an Android. This is something we need to adapt to. Finally, let me highlight that out-of-the-box applications are there. These applications are backed on original ideas. In terms of creativity, they went one step beyond. For example, here we have a game, it's called Teams, Equipos. This is soccer teams. We are always dwelling on football and soccer. One is a level that is easy level, and here we have the name of a team, and we have to guess which is the right coat of arms or logo. Some are difficult, and it says no, you're wrong, and then you add, you score, and you have a ranking, and you see how many good points you have. Then we have this other game. You go into a country and you have to give a name to the soccer team. It's a game like any other game you can find, but it was developed with GeneXus. The following idea that I wanted to share with you is crazy ringtones. It shows noises and sounds you can adopt. For example, when you receive a message or a call, listen to this. You can hear it or download it into your phone. It's a little noise. I don't know. I don't like it for this kind of meeting. And along those lines, innovative ideas, I'll show you an application that requires more of a screen because it's very beautiful. Let me see if I can manage it. It's called Celebrity Hot or Not. We can value or score our celebrities. Are they hot or not? We can, Jennifer Lopez, do you think she's hot or not? Marisa Marcil and many others. So we have more and more pictures and we have to rate them. And then there's a game that gives us a photo of a celebrity and we have to guess the name. And don't think that we are machos and chauvinists. This is for girls. Sexy man, who is the hottest. And these are beautiful. They are beautiful. Since I started, Jessica Alba is #1. I don't know what you think about this. Well, now, I'll be serious. Let me summarize what we saw today. GeneXus Evolution 2 gives us a tool that allows us to make applications with good features by being integrated to the device, with good user experience so that users enjoy using them. Mass media applications, multi-platform applications that do not limit creativity. I see an opportunity here because we have to start creating applications for smart devices. We in our tech, what we do is to develop the best tool for this. You have to get your best ideas and implement them. Arnim will close, and thank you for listening to me. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been looking at the benefits, the features of web and smart devices. You will see a lot more during this meeting. You will learn about experiences of users, and for those of you who have not adopted, how to adopt this new version. I think there's not much left to be said. Have a very enjoyable meeting. Welcome to this evolution in the web and revolution in terms of smart devices. Thank you.